Okay, Evan, I've got 401. Would you like me to start with a roll call?
Sure, thank you.
Okay. Jay Bombara,
Here.
Jim Calciano,
Here.
Sally Hatzenbuehler,
Here.
Evan Honeyman.
Here.
We've been notified previously that Jay O'Leary will not be in attendance, so she is absent. And then for the alternates, I've got Liz Gemsky. Is not here. John Renahan
Hey, here.
and Ted Sanford.
Here.
Okay.
Okay, thank you
All right,
very
Mr.
much,
Chair, it's all
Shannon.
yours.
Thank you, Shannon. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll call to order the virtual meeting of the Town of Farmington Historic District Commission for Tuesday, October 19th, 2021 at 4:01 p.m. As Shannon had said, Ms. O'Leary is not present, so I'm going to appoint Mr. Sanford in her place for the hearings today. And with that, Mr. Secretary, would you please read the entire public notice into the record?
Oh, thanks, Shannon. That's better. No, yeah, the Jeffrey Weiner application for some temporary certificate of appropriateness to install roof-mounted solar array at 17 Tungsten Street. The next one is Main Street Properties application for a temporary certificate of appropriateness to replace steps, replace walkway, replace front door and side lights, install porch light, install light posts on stone wall, add overhang on garage at 40 Colton Street.
Okay, thank you very much. And for our first agenda item, I believe Mr. Weiner is here on behalf of 17 Tungsten Street. You could please state your name and the address you're representing for the record, and then please proceed with your presentation.
Hi, I'm Jeff Weiner. I live at 17 Tungsten Street, and looking for approval to install 14 solar panels on the roof of the addition under construction at my house. I'll just note, none of the panels will be visible from the street. 12 will be on the kind of the middle roof of the addition, and 2 of them will be on the far eastern portion of the roof of the addition. Not sure what else the commission would like to know about this.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll open it up to questions and comments from the commissioners, and let's start with Ms. Hatzenbuehler.
So how many of these panels are there altogether?
There will be 14.
14. And you're saying none of them will be seen from the road?
Correct.
That's correct?
Yes.
Okay. That's it. That's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Bombara.
Yes. Is there any other equipment that will be to the side of the house or the front of the house? I mean, is there anything other than the panels that are necessary to operate this?
I'm not sure if anyone from Earthlight Technologies is on the call. I understand there'll be some panel adjacent to the electric meter, a standard part of a solar installation. But other than that, that's all the equipment that I'm aware of. The wiring will not transverse the roof. The wiring will come down from underneath the panels into the interior of the house, into the basement, and across to the panel.
Okay. I guess just more out of curiosity. So it looks like on that roof, they look pretty flat. So you can install them without any kind of angle like that. They're going to work okay for you. Yeah,
the roof where the 12 panels will go is fairly flat. I think it's a 3-pitch, but they're a very experienced installer and no problem with that.
Yeah. Okay. Great. No further questions. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. It looks like there is a representative from Earthlight on the call. So, Kevin, if you wanted to add anything, feel free here, or we can just continue on. Oh, it looks like you're not muted, but it's Shannon, is there a way to unmute Kevin from Earthlight?
He's not muted. There's no mute. If I click him, then he will be muted.
Okay, well, let's continue on with Mr. Sanford.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Calciano?
No questions. I think there's not much we can say about the location of the panels, except try to, do the best they can to minimize their look. And this looks like it's an ideal setup for a change. So no questions. Looks good.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Renahan?
Yeah, no, it looks good. And again, I'm just looking at the pictures kind of more close up. It looks like an addition, and they're, again, like you said, not seen from the road, and it's micro inverter, so that, it's not a significant inverter there where you show that electrical box, right?
Right.
Great. No questions on my end.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from commissioners? Hearing none, if anybody is on from the public and you'd like to be heard, please raise your Zoom hand and Shannon will unmute you.
Okay, we do have an individual that has had their hand up, so we'll, Linda Coates Ryan, if you want to unmute your microphone and address the commission, then you can ask questions or comments regarding this application.
I actually have a question on the next my item on the agenda. I wasn't sure whether or not I'd be able to be heard, so I raised my hand, but I would like to speak on the next item. Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, anyone else that's called in that wishes to speak regarding this item for 17 Tungsten Street, if you would please raise your hand and you'll be acknowledged to address the commission. Okay, Mr. Chair, I'm not seeing any other hands raised or any other indication that anyone needs to speak regarding this matter.
Okay, thank you. Hearing none, is there a motion on the application?
I'll make a motion that we approve the application for a temporary certificate of appropriateness for 17 Tungsten Street for the installation of roof-mounted solar in accordance with the application as submitted.
Thank you very much. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, please say aye. Hearing none, and any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Weiner.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Okay, for our second item, Mr. Corba is here on behalf of 40 Colton Street. We also have Bruce Sear from the town zoning enforcement on the call, and he'll be able to help answer any questions or provide any additional details for the commissioners and the public as needed. And with that, Mr. Corba, could you please state your name and the address you're representing for the record, and then please proceed with your presentation.
Hello, this is Grace. Is that okay that Mark is not here?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I am here to answer any questions about 40 Colton Street.
Okay, so we've seen the materials. Would you be able to please just give us an overview of, I suppose, what you did on the property beyond what was approved by the commission during the April 16, 2019 meeting, January 21st, 2020, and October 20th, 2020?
So is this the first slide?
Correct. This is your application that was just
Right.
submitted, and that's
No, I mean the first pictures. That's good. We can start with the garage. Okay. So basically here there is a small overhang that Mark added because of the fact that water was just pouring straight down right around the perimeter of the building. So basically a necessity. The overhang also matches gives a more aesthetic look, he thought, than just that. It just gives a more finished aesthetic, historically, I guess, aesthetic look.
Okay, yeah, we'll go to the next page.
That's the only change on the garage, and it's a very, very small overhang. I don't even know if it's 6 inches, so.
2 sides on the garage. Okay, why don't we, if you would go through everything, and then if the commission has questions,
Okay.
we'll come back to it at the end.
So I'm not sure what I'm addressing here on the side. It's supposed to be the, I believe, the light posts now, or are we talking, you can't
light
really
posts, I believe,
see
are
them
the
on
next-
this slide?
The next page. No, sorry.
So this is the front door. If we could just look at the door. The old door, I mean, if you look at it, it mimics the same exact, the side lights are just about identical. The door, I think, does not have a storm door. I think that white storm door in the bottom picture is the older picture, and the top picture is the newer picture, obviously. And he's tried to stay as close as possible. That's literally why I think he never put in for any kind of addendum or addition to the application, because it looks just about identical. He just had to replace the old door because it was rotted through. Basically, it wasn't functioning anymore. So the back of the house, so that is the old existing sunroom, and our application for this was, I think this part, if I'm not mistaken, was cleared that we did not need historic permission. Am I correct there, Sandy?
I don't recall.
Yeah, I don't recall. We'd have to go back through the notes, but this
Okay.
was part of the application that came.
It was
through.
part of the application, and then a part of the back, because it wasn't visible, there were notes, and I'll have to look to find it, to say that this particular part of the application did not need historic anything further, if I'm not mistaken. But on that application for this back of the house, there was, so the deck that you see below, that's the original footprint. It was simply covered by that dilapidated sunroof there. So what that was, we have old pictures. I mean, that was completely broken and the windows were cracked and it wasn't functioning anymore as a sunroom at all. So Mark removed that. So that stayed the same footprint. In our application, Mark requested to just simply redo the sunroom and then add a deck. During the process of construction, he decided to, whether it was time, cost of materials, going over budget, he decided to not extend the deck anymore and simply leave the original footprint.
Okay.
And if I recall, I'd like to, I don't remember, but I think this part was the part, I could be mistaken, that did not need historic approval. But again, just rendering back to that, going back to that original, the way it was, it's not a rendering, it's an actual picture, but just to say the current back is simply the same footprint. Instead of keeping the sunroom, he just took the glass off and turned it into probably what it was at one point, maybe a deck. So.
Okay, and it was approved anyway. But could we please see the photos of the the lights, the lamp poles as well that were installed. I thought that they were in the initial packet. Oh,
There's one right there to the right. There you go. So these were installed, that area, I mean, I'm sure you all know that Colton Street, that area is extremely dark. It's a very long driveway for the size house. The size house is set back quite a bit, as a lot of them are on that side. And I remember delivering stuff and literally I had to bring a flashlight with me. We installed those mainly to just provide some light, and I think they're aesthetically pleasing to look at. I don't think they really stand, you know, out so much, and I think they're more of a safety feature. And I sure hope they can stay because it is extremely dark there.
okay. And then if we could just see a picture, please, of the walkway.
Nice.
And then the walkway, so this was always here. It was a crumbled blacktop asphalt walkway. So it was black tar that was in place. So Mark did remove the crumbled black tar and replaced it with something more aesthetically pleasing. This is not a new walkway. It is to replace an asphalt. And I don't know anyone on this commission that would prefer a blacktop walkway to their front home in a historic area. So there is a little bit of decorative work, obviously, but that is all, you know, in keeping with, it is reclaimed bluestone, actually, I think from the backyard of the house, bluestone and brick. So just really kind of staying with that natural stone look. And that's it really. So I think, you know, he may have technically maybe not, you know, veered away or, but these are like in the process of construction. I mean, when you're removing something that's there and replacing it with, you know, brick, he should have went to the town, I would imagine, but I just have a hard time with any pushback on this walkway. Why would you want a crumbled asphalt? I don't understand. I'm sorry, I don't understand. But I think that's it for us.
Thank you. And, you know, we'll open it up to questions. I think it's more about the process, and we can get into that. But before we open it up to questions, comments from the commissioners, Bruce Sear, is there anything that you want to add from the town's perspective? If not, that's okay. And if there are questions for you, we can go that route. But
no, thank you for that. I just in the course of the CO inspection, I went through it, noticed that there was differences from what was approved, so I documented those with photos, and then forwarded them over to the commission. There are some other small things, like in the garage overhang, there are some brackets that were installed in there as well. Very, very minor, but then again, I'm kind of new to this commission, so I'm not sure how much detail you guys are looking at. So I said that it was more for cautionary sake. The next one, Shannon, is, yeah, there wasn't much change on the side of the garage. Nothing more or less here, just some painting and some colors. If you go to the next one, oh, sorry, yeah, right there. The front door, as you went, is new. There's the light on the door is new. The mailbox and the front steps are all new as well. So along with that brick sidewalk that she was discussing. And then other than that, it was the stone wall was approved, but the lights weren't. So
may I just ask, and oh, I'm sorry. May I ask for the process, just for reference? If something is already there, for example, those steps, I had forgotten that. So those steps right there, if they're already there and you're simply replacing something that is those were wooden steps that were rotted through, you couldn't really use those. So if you replace it with something, so I guess every little tiny detail has to go through then, even if you're replacing something that is dilapidated, rotted through, and unsafe?
Yes.
Correct. Anything that's visible from the street.
Okay.
Real change, yeah.
Anything, yeah, which is, I think, been conveyed, so
But if
anything
you
visible
want to,
from the
right, and
street.
so if you want to look at the front of the house just one more time, I mean, if you can just do the front house picture before and after. Certainly not to question the process, but I think that if you look at it, you'd be hard pressed to say there are huge changes there if you look at the before and after. You know, you really have to look closely to see that little light. Well, a light on the front door is a necessity, obviously.
Okay, so we're going to open it up to questions and comments from the commissioners, and let's start with Mr. Renahan first, please.
Yeah, sure. So first I'd just start with like having walked by there. I think the house has been transformed in a great way. So good work. The thing I'd say though, just in going back, I feel like we, you know, the precedent does matter, and I hope we can get our process better and make sure everybody knows the process. I feel like we may have approved the stone wall retroactively going back a few years. I remember talking about the stone wall. And then when I look at when I look at our sort of bylaws with light fixtures, fences, walkways, I just, again, I think we all know this, but it is a good idea and critical to get it approved before you do the work. So thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Hatzenbuehler?
I was going to say the house looks great. It's a nice nice look altogether. Did you say that the roof was done or no? Was the roof replaced or not?
The roof is new, yes.
It is, okay. Yeah, that's all I have.
But that was permit approved and all that.
Right,
so.
right. No, it looks great. Place looks good.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bombara?
Yeah, I guess I first want to echo a little bit, and I don't want to beat people up, but I'm a little surprised that, Grace, that you and Mark are here asking these questions or sort of expressing surprise. I know we went through this exact same kind of procedure with the house on Main Street not too long ago. I think, you know, you and Mark have always gotten what you need. And so I don't think it's too much to ask that, and I think that you should know by now what the requirements are for the historic district. If you're making any kind of changes that are visible from the street, you do need to get permission from the historic district. And it's the historic district which has preserved the wonderful neighborhoods that we have and create the value for the houses that you buy and fix up and are able to resell. And that's a great thing. And believe me, and I've said it to you before, completely appreciate what you and Mark have done for the historic district, including the Main Street house, including this street. But I really would ask that in the future, you really think hard. If there's anything you're going to do, if you need to check, call Shannon or whoever's at the town. They'll tell you what you need to do. So I made my little speech. Apologies for that. Just a few quick questions, and maybe for Shannon or Bruce. Was the dormer shed on the back approved, or did we decide we didn't need approval?
The dormer shed?
Yeah, look above the porch. There's now a dormer.
Go down one.
Keep going down.
I think that was
Right
approved.
there.
Above.
Go up.
Right there.
Sorry,
Right there.
Right there. That's below the summer one.
I don't know what you're
Right,
talking.
that one
You
right
see the
there.
windows above the porch?
Oh,
Yeah,
all
right
right. Yeah, sorry, I had no idea what you were talking
I
about.
think
That's okay.
what said to
I
do.
didn't notice until just now either, because it was
That
on the
Portion
drawing.
of that,
That was
I think-
approved, I believe.
It was, okay. That's all. I wanted to double check.
Yeah, it wasn't on this, but I think because it's at the rear of the house and faces to the rear,
There's something, go back, down.
Mark DeVoe.
That
So it's
pink
not,
piece of, the pink piece of paper looked like it
Yeah.
had.
The pink, right there.
There it is.
Yep,
had
Although it's not the
some,
exact design.
so those had 3 and 3, but it's actually, right, so it's 4 separate windows when this was 2 windows with 3 each, so. And that was part of the bill, that says part of the building permit set in July of 2019. Yeah, I think Mark may have looked at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that we said he didn't need a approval for, I mean, that isn't the back of the house. It's probably hard to
Correct.
argue. You
Yeah,
can see it. So they
Exactly.
probably could do what they wanted. So I don't really object to that. I just point that out and wanted to clarify. If you could go to the front of the house for a second, I do want to point out the other way. Yep.
there we go.
Right there. Yeah. So it's very subtle and it's really hard to see on the this computer screen, but to the side of the door, there was a little bit of interesting detail, which was more in conformance with the style of the house. It's hard to see, but there's like almost little, I don't know if they're windows or not, but there's more sort of square horizontals. Yeah, those exactly, which are now missing. I mean, I'm okay and I'll let that go, but I do want to point out that that might be the kind of thing that the Historic District Commission might say, gee, we'd like you to keep that detail. I mean, I don't disagree that basically it'd be very hard for someone to notice the changes, but you know, those are the things that when you add them up can really help not just a house, but the district kind of pop when you really keep these little details. But you know, with that, all these other changes that are asked for have been made. I have no objection. So thanks, Evan.
Thank you, Mr. Bombara. Mr. Sanford?
Overall, I think the look of the house is significantly improved, especially the front. I mean, I think it's a dramatic change. The front door, I don't have a problem with. I actually like that the storm door is gone because that was kind of an ugly old aluminum storm door. The garage overhang, I don't mind the overhang. I'm not a fan of the brackets. But that being said, I walk by there almost every day and I never noticed the brackets until they were pointed out to me. So I don't think it's a big issue. So I'm fine with the changes.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other questions or comments from the commissioners?
yeah.
Mr. Calciano?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I wasn't going to go away. So on the overhang on the garage, I thought that was a great improvement. But again, they do want to know about it when you change the plans, you should let them know. And on the front steps, an example would be if those were stone steps and you ripped them out because they needed work and you put wood, we would say something about that because that's part of the original texture of the building and the look. So, but the way you replace them, it's fine. It looks good. The only question I have is the door. I couldn't tell what kind of door is it? Is it wood, metal?
I'm sorry, I don't have that answer. And I'm sorry that Mark's not here right now. I don't have that answer. I don't know.
Could you tell Bruce at all when you were out there? Or?
No, I didn't. I didn't go up to the door and touch the door or anything like that.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, I want to know if it's metal. We don't allow metal doors.
So from the street,
What do you think?
Jim, from the street, it looks like fiberglass. It did not look like metal to me, but I didn't go up to the front door either. I just looked from the street.
Right.
Are you able to zoom in anymore?
It's kind of dark, I think, but you think it's fiberglass. I mean, I see with that molding, that's usually a plastic molding they apply, right, Ted?
Yeah, it's either wood or fiberglass. It's not steel.
Okay, all right. Well, then I'm good with this. I think the house definitely looks. I think they did a great job on it. And I was happy to see that greenhouse go. I always used to see it, on an angle. it was a nice thing to say goodbye to. That's it. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. And sorry again for skipping over you
No
accidentally.
problem.
Any other questions or comments from the commissioners?
Just note that it dawned on me looking at this again, that the front steps were also replaced. They were wood and were replaced. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what you mentioned, but and again, I think I'm okay with it. I just,
Sure. I
if we
agree.
need to put this in the approval for purposes of resale, just want to get as much on there as possible.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I believe we have someone from the public who would like to speak, and I believe they have their Zoom hand up. If Shannon, if you would please be able to unmute them.
Yeah. So,
Thank you.
yeah, go ahead. Ms. Coates, Coates Ryan, if you could, your full name, your address, and address your questions or comments to the commission, please.
Yes, my name is Linda Coates Ryan. I own the property at 36 Colton Street, which is 2 doors away from number 40 Colton Street. And I want to begin by saying that I think Mark has done a wonderful job of enhancing the beauty of the house. He's done we like the color, we like the layout. We have a couple of issues. One is the front door of the walkway was never on the side of the house. It's always been on the front of the house and was a walkway from the front door to the sidewalk on Colton Street. There was a nice little metal railing there. It was kind of cute. It was always a sort of adorable thing. That's now been gone, taken out, and the walkway was put on the side of the house to the driveway, which we of course makes sense for access to the house from the driveway, but we don't understand why they couldn't have left the sidewalk to the front of the house there. It was really kind of an inviting look to the house. That's one item. More importantly, though, are the lights on the wall. They are on all night long. They come on at dusk, and they go off at dawn. They are extremely bright. They shine into our bedroom window. We have to use multiple layers of curtains to darken the room. And I don't understand, when we spoke to Mark about it, he said there was nothing he could do. But that's the way the lights were. And it just sort of is, we don't understand why they need to be on all night. And if they need to be on all night, why they have to be so bright. We have, what is ours, a 40-watt bulb in our front, in front of our house. And that lights up the whole driveway and the sidewalk. So we're sort of confused as to why he needs to have that.
And the brightness, that's not dark.
Yeah, the brightness. It's not that dark on Colton Street. We've lived here for over 20 years, and it's not that dark. But I understand the back of the house, that driveway, I'm sure is dark. Why the security light couldn't be on the back of the driveway, we're not really sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, I'm so sorry. May I respond to Miss Linda?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. So I'm so sorry that you have not, I'm so sorry that Mark said he couldn't do something about the lights. I will drive there myself and, why do we need to be shining lights into anybody's bedroom? I don't know. And I wish you would have just approached us. I'm sorry about that. So, we can maybe, do they only take a certain light bulb? I don't know, but if anything has been keeping you up because of bright lights, because of these lights, I'm sorry. So maybe I can ask Mark about that.
Yeah,
and I will just speak to the process. I do appreciate the process. I didn't mean to insult the process. I will say I'm not part of the process. I'm here today. Mark asked me to be on this meeting. I'm not part of his historic, I'm not part of any of this. So if he veered off subject again, I do have to apologize. I do respect the process, and I think that, when you are in construction, and you all know that Mark does most of the work himself, when you're in the nitty-gritty, you just sometimes, not that he disrespects the process, but he loves his work so much to this day. He was supposed to retire 2 years ago and he's still doing this. So I'm done, I'm retired. And I appreciate all of you, and I do appreciate the process. And if it seems like maybe he was disrespectful, I assure you, I mean, he loves that town so, and he loves what he does, and he loves doing these homes. He doesn't do it for the money. I'll tell you that. So I will just say that, you know, he did get caught up. Maybe, you know, you're in the thick of it, you're working. He doesn't necessarily think of paperwork, and it's by no means meant to be disrespectful. So I think I just wanted to say that. And Miss Linda, I'm sorry about that. And I'll ask Mark if he can change the light bulbs. So
We did approach him on multiple occasions, and he
okay.
the last time he was actually not very pleasant about it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, you know, I'm sorry. I mean, I guess it's his right to do what he wants on his property, you know, in terms of what light bulb he uses, but you know, maybe I can encourage him to tone it down a notch. You know, I don't know what to say. Sorry about that.
Bruce Sear, I believe actually from one of our last meetings, is there a wattage maximum or like a light distance that the town looks at? I think we were looking at this for the Bank of America property. Is there something similar that we do for residential homes as well?
Usually we don't as much. I mean, it does play into it. Commercial lights do have the light fixture up in the top of it, and therefore it's a downcast. You know, these are probably off the shelf at a store, and that's probably why. I mean, they can try with a smaller wattage light bulb. If that doesn't work, then they could look at changing out the fixture to a downward lighting fixture.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, if I may interject, because I've had, being responsible for the streetlight program for the town of Farmington, I've had to take a look at quite a few lights. So
Absolutely.
the issue is with the globe, right? With the globe light, there's nothing shielding it, and the light is being cast in all direction. Right. So if you take a look on our residential street, and even in any of the shopping centers, the light is typically recessed into the housing and shines down. So I would strongly recommend, I think trying to play around with wattage and whatnot, we're going to get into a lot of subjectivity, and I'm afraid that this is not going to really resolve itself in a manner that can be concise and straightforward. I truly think the fixture needs to be changed and can be reviewed with the commission, but something that provides a directly downcast light. You know, like the coach lantern, our typical post top light. There's a bunch of different options, but the lighting itself, the bulb itself needs to be recessed, whether they're LED diodes or a bulb, but the light recessed and then downcast. I think we're going to be around and around on this quite a bit and not be able to get to a clear resolution.
Okay.
Can we try a simpler fix first before we go in and get an electrician in there and all that to do that? Can we try a lower wattage to see if that does the fix? Those look like, if you look at that light bulb again, it looks like one of those. I mean, I've had some in our garage. Those look like those 100 watt, you know, those strong. If we get a regular 40 watt there, it'll just be a pleasant light.
Why do they
rather
have to
than
be
this
on all
beam?
night? I think our question is, in addition to them being there, they're so bright, so incredibly bright, they light up the whole house. Why do they have to be on all night?
So
right.
folks,
So maybe we can. So maybe we can shut off. Although I do keep lights on at night, but what I'm saying is, I don't know. I mean, okay. Well, now we're getting into, we can't put our lights on, but I think that
I'm sorry,
that's clearly
if I
a
could please just
commercial.
interject for a moment here. I just wanted to say that, you know, I appreciate the back and forth, but I think that for purposes of this conversation, questions about when the lights should be on or shouldn't be on are best served kind of outside of the commission and the work that we're doing here tonight. So I do appreciate it, but I think that we probably have what we need to make a decision at this point. And Shannon, thank you for the clarification on the lights themselves. You are now our town expert on lighting, so thank you. Are there any other comments or questions from the public?
Let me just double check, Mr. Chair. So if anyone else wishes to speak regarding this application for 40 Colton Street, please raise your hand and you'll be acknowledged to address the commission if there's anyone else that's logged in to discuss this matter with the commission.
Okay.
No,
Hearing none.
Mr. Chair, I'm not seeing any other hands raised.
Okay. Before we move
there
forward,
is-
looks like Mr. Renahan has his hand up.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Evan, I did want to clarify with our role with the commission. So I don't know who's most appropriate to answer, but it is under our jurisdiction to approve light fixtures from the way I read what we do, but I would love any insights on that. I don't believe we approved these light fixtures, correct?
Correct. We did not approve the light fixtures, but my understanding as well is that that would be in our purview. For clarification, I was simply saying that I didn't think that, we should be discussing when they should be on or off.
Agreed. I got it. Yeah.
Okay. And it looks like Mr. Calciano, I believe, had his hand up too, and then put it down. Mr. Calciano, did you want to add anything?
Yes, the only thing I have to say is very often for a lot of our lighting on commercial purposes, they're all dimmable. However, this is not going to solve the problem with the light being on all night. And it definitely is the fixture. I concur with Shannon. That's it.
Okay, thank you. And again, not to echo what everybody has said, but had the light fixtures been brought to the commission to review, we probably could have avoided having to go back and replace them potentially. So again, it's just the process is in place to protect everybody, the homeowner, the town, neighbors, and so we'll leave it with that.
May I ask, can we just remove them then? Do we have the right to just remove the wood pole and the light fixture, just take it down completely? Or do we need to put in an application now to remove them?
Oh.
Well, I think that what's going to happen here is we're probably going to get a motion. We may break it up into separate motions, but I would assume that the light poles are probably going to be either voted. Well, I'm not going to lead in one way or another. I would, yes, one way or another, if you would like to remove them, I'm sure that could be arranged. And I do not believe that you would need approval to remove them. But
so at the end of this meeting, so if we decide to just remove these just completely remove them and bury the wires underground, we have the right to do that?
I think so.
Bury the wires underground. I think so, but I still.
I mean,
think
I don't
that
know.
we need to vote.
I'm not an electrician. I don't know what I'm talking about. Cap the wire, whatever. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I just would like to make sure that we vote at least on the item itself, and I would like to see where that goes, but I do believe that you should be able to remove the light poles and the fixtures with no issue. So
okay.
I'm not sure exactly how we want to go about this one, but maybe two separate motions would be the best case and kind of separate them out. And remember that motions must be made in the affirmative. So even if we're not going to vote yes on a particular motion, we still need to make it in the affirmative so we can vote a certain way on it. So having said that, is there a motion, a first motion, or just a motion on this application?
Evan, I'll make a motion that we approve all of the changes submitted in the application, with the exception of the approval of the outdoor light fixtures.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion, and is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say aye. Hearing none, any abstentions? Hearing none. Okay, that motion passes. Does the commission feel that we need another motion specifically for the light poles and fixtures, or?
Um,
I'm just trying to gauge interest on that.
I would,
Go ahead, Jim.
yeah, Jay, Evan, one suggestion may be that they come back with a plan, either take them out or come up with those small landscaping in-ground features, which are very low, all downcasting. That way you wouldn't have to remove the wiring and you'd still have some lighting on the driveway. I have one in a couple of places. It's very low lighting and it's all downcast. So it looks like something should come back to us. They could take it out if they want and be done with it, or come back with a small ground, low to the ground lighting fixture that would probably meet the issues that we're running into right now with casting of light.
Okay, Mr. Umbar, I think you wanted to add something as well.
Well, I'm on the same page as Jim, and I guess how I would try to achieve that, I guess, is, I'm willing to, in a second, make a motion, but I think I do agree they're going to need to either get a different lantern or a different style of lamppost or remove them. I would all be fine with. So I guess I'm ready to make a motion to approve these particular lanterns and lampposts. But as you pointed out, Evan, that doesn't mean I'm necessarily in favor of it.
Okay.
So,
All right, thank you. So having said that,
would you like me to do that, or is there further
sure,
discussion?
yeah, I think we should at least have it, on the record.
Okay.
Thank
So I'll make
you.
I'll make a motion that we approve the lampposts and lanterns as shown in the photographs submitted with the application.
Thank you very much. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion is second. Any further discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your hand. All opposed, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And any abstentions? Hearing none. Okay, that motion fails. Thank you, Ms. Corba.
Okay.
All right.
Can I just be transparent? We are selling the home in a couple of days. I don't really know what this means to us. So can you kind of just tell me in plain English, so to speak, does Mark need to just replace them to look more historic, or what do we do? Our closing is taking place in a couple days.
So I've got this, Mr. Chair. So basically everything's been approved except the light fixtures. I believe the CO is.
Right, I'm referring to the light fixtures only.
Correct. So you need to, if you need to have your CO issued prior to selling the home, then you will need to remove these in their entirety and capped appropriately in order to receive your CO so you can sell the home.
Oh,
And
okay,
then
so
it'll
it's
be
no
the next,
more.
it'll be the next person's, the homeowner's choice then whether they choose to come back to explore other lighting options for the front of the home.
Oh, that's so sad. So it's not even up to switching out that top.
No,
part
because it
to-
has to be, any of the lighting fixtures need to be reviewed by this commission.
I think
Right,
the
And
point is,
the commission next meets in November.
So
You can-
is that possible for us to continue to go to that when we don't own the home, or how does that look? I don't know.
I'm happy to discuss that with you offline. You can call the office tomorrow and we can discuss options offline.
Okay. But in terms of this meeting, the conclusion is they are to be removed. Is that correct?
Or they were not approved. So if you want something left there, then you can either, if you want something left, then you have to come back to the next meeting or the December meeting or whatever with the revised fixture that you're proposing. But the CO can't be issued until the site is compliant.
Okay,
So
so
if
if they're
you need-
removed and corrected tomorrow, we can request a CO inspection, correct?
I would assume so, yes, assuming this was the only item in the
And
last
how many
item.
of these are there? Are there two? Is it just the one on the corner or both of them? I think there's two. They both need
All
to
of,
be removed?
correct.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much. And
Thank
Shannon,
you.
thank you for the clarification on that.
No problem.
That concludes our public hearing for the evening, and we're moving on to other business. You all should have received a draft of the 2022 meeting schedule. And what we've worked on here, and thank you to Sandy and Shannon for pulling this together, is changing the meeting time from 4:00 p.m. to 5:00 p.m. And while we aren't going to vote on the meeting at this, while we're not going to vote on the 2022 meeting dates today, that's going to be at a regular meeting in November. We wanted to at least provide this calendar to the commission to take a look at and to see if there's any discussion. So, if there are any questions, comments, concerns, happy to hear those now.
It's just Evan, oh, wait. So clarify, you just said it says 4:00 on what I'm looking at. You're saying you're going to change the time to 5?
That's what so right now, this is a draft if we kept it at, at 4 p.m. But what we're aiming to do with these dates is to change the time to 5:00 p.m.
Right. So it's going to be,
even though it says 4 p.m., the goal is to change it to 5:00 p.m.
So it's going to be the same cadence of whatever we meet on the second or third Tuesday. But just the time is being proposed, although not, again, to be decided today, I guess, to 5:00. I guess I don't object to it. I guess then, maybe it's not really our issue, but my recollection is we did 4:00 in order to try and make it easier on the town staff was one. And so I take it that it's not an issue that we'll be meeting at 5. And then the second reason was, I recall there were several, at least one, maybe two commission members that said they absolutely couldn't make it later, I think, or at least not at 7. Maybe it wasn't 5 was not the issue. So, I mean, I'm fine with 5. I guess I'll throw it out there. I just point that out for everybody else, whatever they think.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Renhan?
Hey, I'm okay with 5. Just a question on, I love the efficiency of Zoom as an option. So I see that it says, I think town hall council chambers. I just, I guess, encourage us if possible to have the Zoom option too, just from a.
Yeah, so when I spoke with Catherine Kramer a week and a half ago, I believe, I was told that the requirement is going to be Zoom through at least April. Shannon, is that correct?
So right now, the governor has extended the option to have meetings remote through April of 2022. And so our intent is to continue with that for Zoom. Our issue and what we think is going to happen is that long-term, the element of being able to host a meeting remotely is probably going to continue for quite some time. Whether it continues in perpetuity or not, I suppose remains to be seen. The issue we are having is, and I did try with my zoning board of appeals and a couple other commissions to host what we termed hybrid meetings. So we had some members in at the council chambers and some applicants in at the council chambers, but some were remote in online from Zoom and public in. And that takes, what I'll say is when we switched to Zoom, it took a level of additional effort to get all the documentation and everyone loaded into Zoom, et cetera. When we go to a hybrid, it takes it up even more to the point where we have to have IT staff on standby in order to get all the technology to appropriately work together so that we can hear everyone in the council chambers and that everyone in the council chambers can also be heard on Zoom. And it's just the way our systems are set up, right? There are other municipalities that obviously have different electronic setups that make that more or less challenging depending upon where you are. So given that there wasn't necessarily a huge desire on everyone's part to be in, and that was the other thing, is that it was kind of sporadic. So I'd have applicants in, but only one member of a commission. Like, it was really kind of goofy. We just we put a hold on it. You know, I don't really want to be in a position where I've got one member in, but I've got all the applicants and in public, you know, live in the council chambers. So we just kind of put a hold on it. We're coming into the holidays. We're now in a different staffing situation. So we thought, okay, you know what? We're going to pull back on hybrid for now and revisit this in the spring. So, and we're going to have to wait and see what the governor does too. So that's kind of where we are. Kind of a long answer to your question.
Thank you, Shannon. That's very helpful. Much more eloquent than what I said. Any other questions or comments on schedule? Okay. Hearing none, that takes us into staff report. And I believe Shannon has a staff report regarding the Farmington Historic District expansion. So I'll turn it over to Shannon.
Sure. I just wanted to speak to everyone. We've had, and I believe Jay and Evan are aware, we do have interest from another homeowner to add their property into the historic district. This property is at 11 Waterville Road. Typically, we look to add more than one property in at a time. Unionville has done these expansions perhaps a little more frequently than Farmington has. We're happy to do it. Obviously, this is good. It's good for the historic district. It's good for the community. But it's a little more beneficial to do these in groups of homes rather than one off, because it is rather a lengthy process to get these additions completed when we go through the expansions. We also typically look to the commission to have someone author the report. So Unionville had been Sherry Horton and then Lisa Johnson. Farmington had been, I believe it was Charles Leach had done some of the prior reports. Lisa Johnson did the most recent report. But typically it's the commission, because it's also you folks that are working with your neighbors trying to get them to join the commission. So typically the commissions have taken the lead with authoring the reports, and then it gets turned to staff because we have mapping to update, ordinances to update, and then shepherd the group and the package, the expansion package through SHPO, Town Council, TPZ, and the various permitting requirements. Like I said, it's roughly a year for the process. So we do have one that's interested. I think if there's others, and I don't know if the commission's interested in reaching out to neighbors, or there's other folks that you've spoken with at various events that are interested. But from a time and effort, it certainly makes sense to try to do more than one home at a time. Obviously, you know, we tend to, I've done it more frequently with Unionville Forest Historic District, that we kind of put a stop, like, okay, we're going to try and get a few more, and we're going to work on it over the next 3 or 4 months. And if we don't get any, then okay, fine, it is what it is, and we'll proceed, as we don't want it to linger forever. But we also want to give it a decent effort to try to get some additional homes and get a group for their class of their expansion, and then start the process of pulling all the documentation together. So I didn't know if the commission has thoughts, if there's other people that have heard of others that want to enter the district, or if you folks want to work on it for a couple more months, and then we can see if there's also interest. I mean, certainly templates have been set. The reports that Lisa have done are, they're, I'd say, fairly straightforward, but it does require a little bit of research at the library and the town clerk's office in order to pull those reports together.
Thank you, Shannon. And I just wanted to clarify that the property we're talking about, I believe, is 11 Waterville Road. If anybody's familiar with the property. So how does the commission feel about taking a little bit of time to see if we can curate some other folks interested in joining the district to try to create some efficiencies?
So if I may.
Absolutely.
So a couple things. One, and Shannon's correct, and I'm in touch with Lisa Johnson. I'm pretty confident we can get her to do the reports as necessary. So I think hopefully that wouldn't be too much of a work for anybody on here unless she's unable to do that.
I'm just going to jump in, Jay. She's not expected back in the area till after the first of the year.
Yeah, no, I'm in touch by her by email. She already has the 11 Waterville Road, so she can work on it.
Okay.
So I am aware of another property. I'll tell you what is occurring to me. And I don't say I have an answer, and I completely understand where the town and Shannon are on this. I mean, I know there's only, we only have so many resources, and I'm very careful about those. But I would say, so here's what I think is happening a little bit. If you recall, we did a program on these state funds that are available, and people with houses in the district should be aware of this, which will allow you to recapture a significant portion of any improvements you do to a historic home. And because of that, I think that's created some interest in joining the district. So the kind of difficulty here is if we tell somebody it's a 1 to 2 year process, if they want to, I'm just going to make it up, replace a few windows, which they think they can get reimbursed, they might say, well, I can't wait that long, so I'm not going to bother doing it. In other words, we have an incentive to draw homes in. So if it's possible, Shannon, you've been great. You've given me probably a timeline 3 times, and I still haven't looked at it closely. But if there's a way that we can try to shorten the timeline or whatever and streamline the process so that it's much easier and quicker to bring in homes and is not a stress on our resources in the town, I think it would be a great thing. In other words, strike while the iron's hot, because the risk is somebody decides they're not going to put their house in for whatever reason, whether it's because they're not going to get the grants or they just change their mind, or and it's happened. Sold their house, so that house eventually did get in the district. So, I guess we have one house. I am aware of another house. I guess maybe Shannon, I'd ask, what do you think is, at least 3, are you saying would make it kind of more sense? Or, is there a number you have in mind that we would, before we would start a process?
I don't have a hard number, but again, I think, typically what we've been seeing when I've done them with Unionville Historic Districts are classes of like 3 or 4 homes. And certainly that fluctuates because we, in both cases with this last round, both Unionville and Farmington had properties drop off. So we started with 4 and 5 and ended with 3 and 3. And that changes for a variety of reasons. Folks have a change of heart along the way, or something changes with their situation. If we had more, that'd be great, because once the report's done, right, obviously the work for each individual report is kind of what it is. And so but once you start the process, whether I'm doing the process for 1 or for 10, it's really, for the most part, the same energy level and same requirements, because the map gets updated at once. The town ordinance gets updated at once. The entire class then goes to SHPO, and the notifications to SHPO and town council. There's one hearing. Yes, you've got to discuss whatever X number of properties, but that process and the timing and system through it basically stays the same. So the more I'm sure, at 20 would start to get cumbersome, but right. I don't think we've got 20. I think that would be a good problem to have, but I don't think that's the case. So,
well, again, I'm aware, this person said they would, as Shannon points out, you ask people and first they say yes, and they can change their mind. I can ask this person, I guess, Evan, it seems to make sense to me. If we want to, everybody on this, on the panel and others wants to take a month and try to see if they can come up with another house, that would be great. And we have 3. then let's start the process. If you don't, then we can decide whether, you know, we're going to impose on Shannon and the staff and do it anyway. That's fine too. But I guess that would be my thought. I don't know what it'd be.
Yeah, so we can certainly do that. It's a great idea, and we can add it as an agenda item to discuss, you know, during our next meeting. And Jay, I'm just wondering, do you think it's worth maybe going back to Portia and seeing if she would reconsider?
I will do that.
Thank you. That would be great. Any other
Because
thoughts?
it's not the house I'm thinking of. So, and actually the house I'm thinking of is also in the Waterville area. So the house I'm thinking of is near the house that 11 Waterville Road, which is nice because we have the other one down Waterville. So we're really getting a real grouping of the houses. And for those that may not be aware, those are all houses built by Noah Wallace. Yes, the person who gave the money, and that's why the school's named after him now. And they're all really interesting. And if you read the one we put in, I forget the address, but it's Waterville Road. You get some of the sense of that.
Thank you. Yeah, that would be great if we could get 2, 3, 4, you know, 5. Who knows? That would be great. Any other thoughts, comments, questions about this from anybody? No. Okay. Shannon, thank you very much.
Certainly.
All right, and we have the meeting minutes from our regular meeting on September 21st, 2021 to consider. I've read them and have no changes. Would anybody like to comment or make any changes?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as submitted.
Thank you very much. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, please say aye. Hearing none, and any abstentions? Hearing none, the minutes pass. Thanks, everybody. All right, thank you all for your time tonight, and it definitely was an interesting meeting. Looking forward to seeing you all in November, and hopefully we can find a few other homes here for the expansion. So the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Evan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon.
Take care.
Bye-bye.